Hi guys, this is Lorena. Thank you so much for returning to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I am an astrologer and content creator here on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. In this video today, we are going to have a look at a birth chart and we're going to simulate a career reading. Now, this is the birth chart of a person that I don't know whether they're alive or not anymore. I found their data on Astro Data Bank, so they're a mystery person. I only know a little bit about their life and their profession based on what information was available out there. We're going to try to see if we can understand this person's career just based on their birth chart, and then at the end we're going to reveal what their career actually is. If you don't know much about career astrology, I use tropical astrology, and I look in particular at the 10th house, at the 11th house, the 2nd house, and the 6th house. The 10th house represents your social status and your public image and how you want to come up into the world. The 11th house explains how you monetize from your career. The 2nd house explains your own finances and stability. And then the 6th house represents your ideal routine and how your day looks like. So starting off with the 10th house in this particular chart, we can see that it is in a little bit of a difficult position. So we have Chiron over here, which is right on top of the midheaven. Lilith is also here, and Neptune in the 10th house. Now, what does this mean? Well, Chiron and Lilith are both placements, asteroids, which reflect healing work. Chiron in particular is the wounded healer, and it represents that the native is going to receive a lot of inner transformation by working with that area of life. When Chiron is in the 10th house, we see a person who struggles professionally, at least in the beginning, or who is fearful of losing their social status at some point. So for instance, if you've seen my Ghislaine Maxwell video, which I'm going to link right here below, we talked about the fact that she has a Chiron in her 10th house, and eventually she did get arrested and put into jail. Lilith is also present here, and Lilith is a very rebellious energy when in the 10th house. It shows the desire to grow professionally no matter what, and sometimes it also brings some issues with authority figures. And also this person has Uranus square their midheaven. You can see this red line over here, which reflects that also there's going to be a little bit of rebellious energy coming into their career. Usually when I see people with these placements, I see someone who would do their best independently or in a career path where they don't have someone to tell them what to do. But Chiron here right on top of the midheaven tells me that this person maybe is a little bit afraid of going down on a more independent path, or who can go down a more independent path but is kind of afraid that they are not going to succeed. Neptune in the 10th house as well brings a little bit of confusion. Now, if you are into spirituality, and if you're an intuitive person, or if you're just a person who is in touch with their intuitive energy, Neptune in the 10th house is not going to cause you too many issues. So I'm not afraid of this placement on its own. I'm more afraid of the fact that, in the context of the whole chart, it seems like this person has a lot of insecurities, and Neptune can definitely add a layer of confusion in this person's career as a result. But if we talk about a person who's very in touch with their creativity and intuition, they definitely can benefit from inspired action in their career as a result. I did mention we are going to have a look at the 10th house and the 11th house primarily. The 10th house and its ruler, so the 10th house starts in Virgo, and the midheaven, this MC line in particular, starts in Virgo as well. The midheaven represents the professional mask that you are projecting in your career. So how do you want to be recognized? How do you want to be remembered? Some people believe that the midheaven is going to show you your ideal career path, which is not correct. It is actually the ruler of the midheaven sign that will give you a very good insight in the career path of this person. And in this case, the midheaven is in Virgo. And this means that this person comes off as very analytical, pays great attention to detail as well, right? Virgo is all about, nitpickiness, but it's also about keeping things organized, which is why people with midheavens in Virgo usually thrive in a managerial role or in a place where they have to organize their own day, their own schedule. Also see the degree of the midheaven as being the 10th degree, which is the degree of Capricorn. People with the 10th degree tend to work in a position where they become very seen, very successful. They want to obtain power. So politics or corporate roles tend to attract these degrees in the chart, especially with the midheaven. So again, I'm putting another point for managerial role, because in order to be a manager, for instance, in a corporation, you should have this Capricornian energy and desire to be seen and to be managerial. But again, we do have Chiron, which provides a little bit of a fearful energy. The ruler of the 10th house is probably the most important, and here's where the whole chart brings the life of the person into context, because a person will choose their career in general to line up with their personality, with their passions, with their energy. The very first thing that we see is that we have an 8th house stellium. We have the North Node, which represents soul purpose, also here in the 8th house, showing that the direction of this person is more towards understanding other people's values. The 8th house deals with inheritances, banking, other people's finances, but it can also deal with psychology. The 8th house deals with everything that is not seen and that is deep in life. So a lot of social workers, therapists tend to get attracted to the 8th house, but also I see researchers as well with 8th house placements, especially Mercury in the 8th house is very good at diving deep into information and investigating. As long as there are 9th house placements to support the 8th house rulership, we would say that a person is interested in higher learning and also in researching with the 8th house and 9th house combination. The 9th house is higher learning, the 8th house is investigating deep things. So in this case, there are some 9th house placements. There is maybe a passion with Jupiter in the 9th house to teach others. Mars conjunct Jupiter, definitely I'm talking about an assertive person. Mars is the planet of the drive. Jupiter is the planet that expands on anything that it touches. And Mars in Leo is also very creative and entertaining placement. So I would say that this person can even be an entertainer if they ever wanted to, or to teach entertainment to others. But probably, not many 5th house placements. I wouldn't go in that direction. Let's go back to the ruler of the 10th house. So the ruler of the 10th house is Mercury, and Mercury is in the 8th house. This means that the 8th house themes are going to be at the core of the career. Other people's values, such as other people's finances, homes, businesses, psychology may also be a theme. Because Saturn is here as well, the North Node is here as well, and they're also in Cancer, I think this person is quite sensitive at core. Of course, the moon in Aquarius is going to make them quite rational in the way that they deal with their feelings, but with the Cancer placements, there's a sensitiveness. And I always see people who have Cancer placements, but then they have the moon in a rational zodiac sign, who struggle a little bit with understanding themselves, because the Cancer energy within them are bringing them towards intuition and being emotional and all of the Cancer stereotypical traits. And then the moon in Aquarius over here is super rational. It's like, okay, let's just focus on getting things done. And also Aquarius tends to be a little bit of a weirdo, or it feels like a weirdo is what I mean over here. So there might be a sense of people don't really understand me, but I want to be part of a community. So just to understand the psychology of the person beyond the chart, we talk about a person who is very sensitive, but maybe who may struggle with mental health, or who at least has a very deep life. 8th house placements in general do not lead towards an easy life. And objectively, of course, if you have 8th house placements, maybe you're having the time of your life. But in general, people with 8th house placements feel like they have a pretty tough life, and that is because they're being called to understand things like psychology and go beyond the materialism of life and understand the intensity of life. So I think this is the case with this person, because not only is Mercury here, but also the Sun, Venus, the North Node. It was this person's sole purpose to move towards this energy as a whole. So it is good, first of all, that Mercury, the ruler of the 10th house, is here. It means that this person can do something as part of their career that also propels them towards their sole purpose, which is great. The 11th house is in Libra. So the 11th house explains how you monetize from your career, and Libra is ruled by Venus, which is also in the 8th house. This is really good. I love to see the rulers of the 10th house and the 11th house in some sort of contact, in some sort of conjunction or trine. It brings a little bit of easiness into choosing your career path, because when these things are in tune with your soul purpose, I do see someone who naturally chooses something that their chart says they should do. Venus in the 8th house and Cancer as well This can provide quite a lot of luck and positive energy when it comes to obtaining finances outside of their direct line of work. People with Venus in the 8th house tend to attract inheritances or a rich spouse, so that's something to consider here, that the money may not come just from their own work, but also from their partner's work. And the final house that I wanted to look at before the routine one, so the final financial one, is the 2nd house. The 2nd house is in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is also in the 8th house. So we got triple bingo. This is not really a common thing to have the rulers of your 10th house, 11th house, and the 2nd house in the same house and sign. So again, it emphasizes on the importance of the 8th house. And definitely, if they were to choose a career path that is not within the 8th house themes, I would be surprised, or they're definitely not doing the right thing. With the 6th house in Taurus, so let's have a look at the routine, the ideal routine. We see some people who have the 6th house in Aries, and as part of their daily routine, they need a lot of movement, they need independence, they need to do something with their hands probably. So I see people who work in sports or people who are cosmeticians because they have to move their hands all the time, who have Aries in the 6th house because they cannot stand sitting in the same spot. Now this person has a 6th house in Taurus, and Taurus loves stability. Definitely it can bring this desire because it's a fixed sign. I don't want things to change too much as part of my daily routine. I want to have a sense of security, right? So if we talk about a freelancer, for instance, freelancers tend to not have 6th houses in Taurus because a freelancer, you know, one day has more work and then the other day is like no work, and you can panic like, oh my God, what am I doing here? So I would say for this person, because you have your 6th house in Taurus, you would benefit from having a career path where you have some sense of stability. You can have a career path that doesn't give you stability, but maybe that's not going to benefit your health too much. This is pretty much the analysis that I wanted to look at. As I mentioned before, the 8th house themes are primarily the focus of this reading. This is going to be other people's values, whether they're psychological, whether there's research, so research of data and analysis of data, or it is going to be financial, so other people's businesses, other people's homes like real estate, or just finances and banking. All of these areas can be considered. Because these placements are in Cancer, I would say that this person is a little bit shy, but also intuitive, so they can use their intuition in their work. We also have a desire for growth professionally with the 10th degree, with the Capricorn degree in the midheaven, and with the Virgo midheaven as well. There's a desire to be analytical, to be organized, to be concise in their work. 6th house in Taurus, not too much variation. And Neptune in the 10th house and Chiron in the 10th house might bring a little bit of wounds in the career. Lilith and Uranus aspecting the midheaven might bring some rebellious energy, and this person would benefit from not having a boss. Great, are you ready for the reveal? So this person is a realtor. This is the big reveal. So this is an American clerical worker who began buying and selling property for herself in 1976 and became a realtor in 1979. She married and divorced 3 times. She had a nervous breakdown in 1973 and 1974, but rebuilt herself. So do you see how that psychological energy is seen in her life? She definitely had her own transformations. And I see a lot of people who experience these nervous breakdowns and who get inspired to become psychologists or therapists themselves. So I do think there was a potential for a job in that sense. But I think what really drove her to be a realtor is the Mars conjunct Jupiter. Again, Mars represents your drive and how do you act when you want to get something, and Jupiter on top of Mars makes you very assertive and very creative at finding solutions to persuade others. So this was the video analysis today. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you want to learn more about astrology, I also have a course specifically designed to teach you how to read career and money in a person's natal chart. If you want to do that, my Teachable account is linked below. If you want to book a reading with me, also I have my Etsy shop linked in the description box below, so you can check that out. I offer both birth chart, natal readings, and career readings, as well as other readings. If you also want to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, apart from that, all the best to you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye!